Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Good, good. We, we,
Doing good.
we got comments already. This got me hyped.
Oh dang!
And thank you, Courtney, for coming through.
Courtney.
What up, Courtney?
It's good to have comments right out the bat, and I think this is our first time, so we appreciate you, Courtney.
Yeah, she's a ride or die, hardcore.
Yeah. Unless you start talking about Twilight.
Hey, I didn't say nothing about. Why you got to bring that up, man? Why you like? Me and Courtney are good, man. Don't fuck that up, bro. Don't fuck that up, man.
just gonna like move on by that one.
Yeah.
Move on.
Just like nope.
Just moving on.
Okay. All right. So moving on. So we're going. We have due to some unforeseen things, we were not able to come out live last week, and so therefore. I didn't. Jesus.
The phrasing is the best.
Everyone's coming at me. Fine. Whatever. Anyway, so we have a lot of geeky news to catch up on. So we're gonna dive right into it right now. First bit of geeky news is our reaction to the Ant-Man 3 trailer that dropped last week. Now, I am just gonna give like a preview of my thoughts. I loved it. But I'm going to get to that in a second. However, we got to talk to what my bros thought, specifically because I don't think I recall him saying anything in the group chat. So T, what'd you think about the Ant-Man 3 trailer, the Quantumania?
Oh, what happened? Okay, there we go. I liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it. And as you know, I've been very my reaction to a lot of these past trailers have been very meh, but that's not saying much in terms of like my anticipation for the movie. I very much still want to see this movie. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But as of late, I don't know if it's just because we're so spoiled because we're so inundated with all these like trailers that are coming out where it's like I don't know. Sometimes I miss the 90s, that element of surprise where like you weren't able to watch you didn't see trailers unless you had cable and you were watching TV and like it came on during a commercial, or you were like watching another movie and then you saw the trailer then. But now because of YouTube, it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's just another trailer after trailer after trailer, like So I don't know. I maybe it's just I'm so overwhelmed that these trailers don't really do much for me. And this trailer, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, like the visuals look really cool. I have no idea what the storyline's about, other than we have my man Kang here making an appearance, which I'm sure is going to be dope. But yeah, this trailer didn't really do much for me, if I'm being completely honest. I'm excited for the movie. I want to watch that for sure, because I'd say I enjoyed the first Ant-Man. The second one was kind of like, it's entertaining, but nothing special really there. This I'm just kind of like, yeah, it looks fun. I don't know where it's going. What are we in? What, phase 4?
We're still in phase 4.
Phase 4? Yeah, yeah. That's all I can really say, man.
And your hate for phase 4 continues.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much.
What was the last trailer you saw that you were like, not counting Black Panther?
The Flash, unfortunately.
Wow, that's low.
Yeah, that's a low fucking bar given the amount of drama that's surrounding that film right now. But I mean, come on, man. Like that's an easy pull for me, man. It's like you're bringing back my childhood hero, Michael Keaton, into the mix. Like, come on, man. I never thought in a million years that would ever happen. And to see that, and we haven't even the thing that pisses me off is we haven't even seen Keaton in the trailer because of this motherfucker. So that's what pisses me off, and maybe that's a good thing, because it's like maybe if I saw him, I wouldn't be as excited. But now there's like this mystique there, because I'm like, I want to see how he looks in the suit now. Like, so I'm waiting, and I know we're probably not going to get another trailer for that. So we just have to go in and watch the movie, which I guess is like a good thing for me because the trailer that I got was good enough for me to like be super excited for that movie. All things considered, obviously. Um, so yeah, man. That to answer your question, the Flash, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. Darcy, your thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Yeah, I'm gonna see how I can transition off that guy, all sunshine and rainbows over here. Yeah. First off, I really hope that we watch this film and Tactics has a completely actually no, it's gonna be Wakanda forever. What am I saying? I was like the movie in Phase 4 that's gonna make him feel like, well, not different about Phase 4, but be like, yo, not everything in Phase 4 was crap. I
I
mean,
think this is Phase 5 though. Like Quantumania is Phase 5.
yeah, okay. Well, then yeah, it's only Wakanda. it's
Yeah.
it's got a chance.
Wait, so
Um,
is Wakanda the end of Phase 4?
Yes.
Okay, got you. All right,
better
well
end
then,
on a high note.
yeah,
Better end.
it seems like that's gonna be the one.
Yeah. It's like we was waiting for this one. We just building up to this moment, even though none of the other stories is related to it. Just putting it out there. Maybe I'm wrong, but anyways, this looks fun. This time heist slash Back to the Future. I don't know why I feel like it's gonna be Back to the Future, but I definitely feel like there's gonna be a Back to the Future level element in this. And it looks really interesting and fun. I like how it opens up where it's the daughter's like, hey, it's like they don't obviously show, and we're gonna find out how intelligent she is and all the work she's put in during the 5 years he was away and whatnot. But it was just kind of like, hey, let me show you a little fun like science experiment I did, and then it's just like the grandmother's like, no, that's not good, and it's like all my secrets is gonna. Oh, I have to tell you guys now. But yeah, I think I'm mostly excited about this, and this good or bad towards Ant-Man. Like Ant-Man's a fun character. First movie was great, second movie was decent. His other appearances have always been fun, but not like it's not like the first character I'm looking forward to seeing in anything Marvel. But everything related to Kang and all the theories and all the potential of what Kang means and can represent in the MCU, I'm just super excited to get that ball rolling. I want to see how much we learn of how much manipulation and control he's had over the MCU. I want to see stuff where it's like, you remember that moment in Avengers 1 and you're like, what? Like, I want it to find out Kang has been messing with things forever. And there's just like scenes in films that are gonna like have a whole new meaning and think and like gaps in storytelling are gonna be rewritten in a way where it'll just make everything special and make the rewatching of things like, well, I mean, help Disney with their Disney Plus, like make people just go back and rewatch the whole thing to start pulling details out. So I just want to get the ball rolling on Kang. Plus, I just want to see Jonathan Majors do his thing. So I'm excited for overall. And it's kind of funny in a way where it's like both of you don't want to see a villain film, and I agree. This is not a villain film, but it's like I'm going to this film to watch the villain more than I'm going to watch the hero. And so I think it's going to be fun. What's that?
He's a show stealer. That's what we're going for.
Absolutely. And I think every other element's gonna be fun. Having the like the 3 generations, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think there's gonna be I think it's gonna be a good ride, hands down. But the whole time I'm just gonna be like, gang, gang, let's go. So that's what got me hyped here. Umar, you bro, how you feeling?
Okay, thank you for saying that, because like yeah, Tactics put me in kind of like a downward spiral. I'm like, oh, but like no, you re-energized me. Courtney says it looks like it will be a great movie to use scene points on.
For all of our non-Canadian listeners, scene is a point system for redeeming free movie tickets. So Courtney is
Yo, she came with this movie so hard.
Those are shots fired.
Oh,
Man.
It's like, wow. For those who are OG YouTube fans, there was a YouTube channel called spill.com, and they used to do their movie reviews,
Yeah.
and they had, it is a pay full price matinee rental, and then above and below all that was some old bullshit and better than sex and stuff. And Courtney just came in here and inserted a like pay no price, but show to the
So she didn't mean. Apparently, Courtney didn't mean to throw any shade. She was just saying that.
Oh wow! It was better before we realized.
So from my perspective, I'm really excited to watch this. I'm a big fan of Paul Rudd. Like my man, like kills it for me. So I'm all happy when he's on screen. I actually really like seeing, like I remember Ant-Man. I remember Ant-Man and the Wasp. I saw the trailer for this, and it's really nice to see how his character has changed through all that, including in Endgame. And I like the fact that he's a celebrity now and he's like trying to enjoy himself, but it's not like he's still a celebrity, but like at the same time he gets confused with Spider-Man, which is hilarious. And I'm not a big fan of Hope's hair. Like Wasp could have gotten a better haircut, but whatever. I'm not gonna lie, that like the single most disappointing thing about this movie for me is that they recast his daughter Cassie. I really like the actress from Endgame. I know she literally had one line and 2 scenes, but like that girl put me to tears in like 3 seconds flat.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this the same person? You know, like when you have those moments where you're just like, is this? Like you just can't really tell because you didn't get a lot of time with them. Yeah. I was thinking that same thing. Damn, that sucks. Maybe she moved on to bigger, better things. Okay.
I don't think they even called her.
Damn. Maybe
like,
she
was
screwed up
like,
on set.
I don't know. I really hope not, because like she killed it for me, and I was kind of hoping to see like her onward from that, but
maybe she fangirled Chris Evans too hard, and it just like they just like, we can't have you back.
Whatever the reason is, I'm sad to see that actress leave. I don't know who this actress is, so like I'm just gonna be like, I'm not against it, but like I'll see what she's got going on. But like that's the only thing I would say like disappointed me about the trailer.
Umar, wait, hold up, random idea. What if this is Kang? Everything can be explained this way whenever we have a moment.
Darcy, I am so worried for you. Like you're gonna think like everything's good, and then like phase 5 happens, and it's like not to what you thought it was gonna be, and you're like, are you telling me all my thoughts were like nothing?
I know there's so much opportunity though with Kang and the Skrulls for everything to be a lie. like what if his daughter got changed and he didn't notice because Kang was just that powerful?
Anyway, so well, he was away for 5 years. Anyway, so yeah, this trailer was great. It was great seeing where Scott is right now. It's also really great the fact that we're going into the quantum realm. One thing I noticed, which I think some people online also said so too. So like in the quantum realm, there are a lot of rings going around and moving around, and the way the lighting was, it kind of reminded me of the 10 rings around the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. And I'm wondering if they're from the quantum realm. So
I think so.
Yeah, so like that's just my own personal theory that apparently other people online agree with. So like, let's see what happens. I am with you, Darcy. I cannot wait for Jonathan Majors. Like, I'm loving the amount of Jonathan Majors we're getting right now, and like Creed 3, and now with this, like if this guy like does a cameo in a post-credit scene for Black Panther, I'm probably gonna start crying like all over again, but like with happy tears as opposed to. I'm pretty sure that movie's gonna put me into like a dehydrated state. But nonetheless, like I can't wait to watch him come out and see how they do Kang and see how this movie changes everything. The costume is surprisingly dope and accurate, which is awesome. I'm interested to see how this plays into Loki season 2. I'm looking forward to seeing like where they're like what they're gonna like do for the heist. I saw something someone said online where they said that they're going to go after like Kang's chair from the comics, and like Scott essentially to save his daughter gives Kang one of the thing that gets him to move around so easily and makes him become a massive problem, which it would be an interesting way to start the story for Kang, in that like Scott, who's like, it's like, hey, I saved half the universe, and then it's like, and then I fucked up and like endangered all of existence.
That would, yeah, I could totally see that. And then he goes on a time heist to bring back Chris Evans. Just he's like, I screwed up, Cap. I screwed up.
Cap. So I messed up. Anyway, so I'm really excited for this film, and I actually really enjoyed the trailer. So keep giving me the trailers to me. Whatever Tactix won't take, I'll take up. So yeah. All right. So moving on. Sorry, I thought T was gonna say something, but he just laughed. I was like, okay.
That just felt like beef out of nowhere. I was just
like, I'm just T. Like, this isn't me throwing shade. I want you to be excited for trailers again. And like every time I get excited, and I'm like, "Yo, T, what you think?" You're like, "Man, I don't know." I'm like, "Why? Who hurt you? Who did hurt you? What was it that did this? Was it Endgame?"
Oh, wow.
Endgame was a lot. I think it was a catalyst for me. I feel like it was just like, man, that's enough. It's like it's like when you bust a nut and like the girl's still going, and you're just like, I'm good. All right, get off me.
I had that thought. I just didn't think anyone was gonna go there. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that was.
I got nothing left. Bro. That's all I'm saying. I got nothing.
Oh, he was unloaded after
Endgame.
What's that?
What was No Way Home for you, to extend the metaphor?
Man, that was like you pop a Viagra and you're just running on fumes at that point. Like you're forcing it at that point.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, someone bring the spray on KY jelly.
Yo, T, Courtney gets you, man.
I'm just speaking facts. That's it. I'm just being honest, being real. Give me a chance to breathe. Let me recharge a little bit, and then maybe we can revisit this at a later time.
Umar, you do realize that those comments come in like at least 8 to like 10 seconds delayed. You just put Courtney on like a hard blast there. She probably was relating to just the fact that it was like enough. Oh. and you related it to everything after that.
She's like, I can't take it back.
She's like, I can't type fast enough.
Sorry, Courtney, if I put you out there. Okay, so
and then there were 0 views in the chat.
Dislike.
So T, I get you, man. I just want the excitement and the love to come back to you. That's all
I want. Let's see what DC is doing. You know, like I'm waiting for DC to kind of give us some heavy hitters now. I mean, Marvel has done its job, so like let's kind of. I'm waiting to see DC kind of try to make not a comeback, because they ain't been here for a minute. So just be here.
Just pull it back, baby.
Yeah, be in the conversation. Let's start with that.
Okay, so on that note, moving on to our next topic. There has been a a lot of a fuckload of the DC news that's been coming up the last 2 weeks. So firstly, it's no longer called, like, whatever happens from this point forward will not be called the DCEU. It will be called DCU, as in DC Universe.
It's a good sign.
Cool. Not gonna argue with it. Don't got a problem with it.
Does that also mean that because they used to, like, they had the concept of DCU for a while, but there was like the separation. I wonder if this really, ever since they said that, means that they're also going to be incorporating more of beyond just the movies inside of what they consider to be DCU.
I think there's going to be a strict difference between comics storyline and movies.
No, I get, yeah, I don't think of everything, but I just wonder if they're trying to do that to cut out the entertainment so that they can incorporate certain things and start saying, well, I'm not saying everything, just like they can put a stamp on something and say this is connected to the core movie like universe that we have going. So like Matt Reeves, probably not. The Joker, probably not DCU, but then they'll say like this animated movie is part of the DCU in some way because it might drop certain things. I don't know, dropping the E for some reason made me think that they're going to try to connect other mediums that we have, but putting the stamp on like that one is canon to this storyline. Everything else is just what we normally do. It's just, random.
Yeah, I think that is what they're doing. Like the DCU is pretty much going to be its own thing, and they're going to identify what it is, and then like we will go from there. We're not going to talk about it because they're bullshit, but like basically Titans and Gotham Knights, like trailers came out for that. No, thank you. And so that's all the time we're going to waste on our podcast for both of those.
Hard pass.
I didn't even for both trailers. I didn't even finish the trailers. I'm like, nope, and carried on.
15 seconds. 15 seconds is all I gave that stupid ass CW show. Like that was literally One Tree Hill.
It was One Tree Hill, but like with Batman. And it's like no.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I love the trailers.
He like Quantumania doesn't do it for him, but this storyline where Batman's dead and all these kids are like yeah, that's the one.
You tell me you're joking.
I'm fucking with you, man.
I'm just like you didn't say no. I'm just joking. You just kept laughing, and you could just be laughing at my reaction. Okay, because
I didn't even know there was a Titans trailer, to be honest.
This is fair. These are the trailers we want you to miss.
Like if you were tired before, those trailers would go, but like, man, I don't even want to go on YouTube anymore.
Yeah,
you go catatonic state if you.
So what happened to him? He watched season 4 trailer of Titans, and he's been frozen and catatonic ever since. So one huge piece of news like that we are going to talk about is something that Darcy and our girl Courtney, who's watching, are going to be happy about. Henry Cavill has officially stated he's coming back as Superman.
Yeah, boy.
Literally 2 days later, it is announced that Henry Cavill is exiting The Witcher.
Nah, boy.
And I'm just like, Netflix, what you playing at? He was literally the only thing keeping people on that show, including fans who were like, nah, we watch it for Henry Cavill because he's a fan and he's part of the show, and at least we can respect the show because it's got Henry Cavill in it. But now they replaced Henry Cavill with Liam Hemsworth.
Not even the strong Hemsworth.
It was the secondary Hemsworth, and like they're like, "Oh no, we got this." I'm like, do we?
It's Hemsworth light.
Oh,
he is out of both his brothers. He is the leader one.
Oh man,
I feel bad because I actually like Liam Hemsworth. I like him. Umar, I'm gonna jump in here because I'm super passionate about this. So I like Liam Hemsworth. And if they told me, now I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping. this is the best answer for me. Well, technically the best answer is he stays on the fucking Witcher. Like that's the hands down the best answer for me. But the second best answer is that his character is done and we're introducing a different Witcher. Not necessarily a good option, but I just can't see me just going from 1 week looking at like Henry Cavill, and then the next season, I'm like, this is Aunt Viv all over again.
Yeah.
like I can't see that. Like I'm looking at pictures and I'm like, okay, I believe Liam Hemsworth can get to the same size as Henry Cavill. I'm not saying that's easy, but we know he's got the genetics. We've seen his family, okay? So, but it's still his face, right? Like Henry Cavill's got a very specific face and vocal tone in that show that's what I love about the characters, the way he looks. And I'm like, if this guy doesn't find a way to improve the voice and they do the good stuff with the makeup and the hair, and this guy doesn't come out and just like blow me away my expectations, I'm just gonna be like, nuh-uh. That ain't it.
T, no, sorry, you don't like fantasy. Never mind. I was going to ask if you've seen any of The Witcher.
I have not.
Okay, so I will admit that Courtney has been educating me on all things I don't know about The Witcher, because like I haven't read the books, I haven't played the games. I was aware of the character, but that's about it. And like I'm like, this show is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. And Courtney's like, you guys don't even know. This is bullshit. And for her, she was telling me, and I read up later, Henry Cavill, like the stuff that I actually liked about the series and about the character, it was Henry Cavill being like, guys, listen to me. This is what you gotta do. Because like this is what they do in the books. This is what he said in the books. This is what's done in the games. Because he played all the games. He read all the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so you not only was he the one that was attracting all the females to like binge watch this series over and over again, not only are you taking away the golden goose that was giving you the passable grade you were getting on the show, but you just like replace him with a dude who like if Liam Hemsworth has played or had read the books for The Witcher, I will be astonished.
You know, I gotta throw up what Courtney's saying here, because Netflix is tanking the show because they couldn't hire writers who actually enjoy the source material. Their biggest, they lost their biggest fan and promoter in Henry. Absolutely, what you're saying, and I think that heavily in that vein of thinking that like, even if Liam is 100% a hardcore Witcher, right? Hardcore Witcher fan, I think that Netflix is putting down the wrong path. I remember an interview with Henry Cavill talking about how he was inserting more of himself into season 2 into push the content a certain direction. And Henry the man went to boarding school, okay? He's learned the proper way to speak civilly in situations when he's clearly not happy with some shit. Right? Like that man is not faltered in any of the interviews where everybody else is like struggling. Even like Ben Affleck is struggling, and he's over like even keel. And
when people make fun of him about his like his stuff on like Graham Norton and stuff like that, he's got a good sense of humor, but then he like corrects himself well. Like he's like, no, it's like this, but like not in like a 2D foodie way. He's like, okay, but. And I've always respected that about him.
He's very respectable, and I think that honestly, like he probably is just done because he's like, well, I've done season 3, and they're not listening, and so I'm out. And Superman, I'm back, right? And I just peace out, because I honestly think that if they were doing the show right, that he would do both. We might have to wait longer, but he would do both.
He said he would be willing to do both, and they're like, they were just like, nah, we good. We'll just recast you.
What?
And I was like,
yeah, I didn't hear that. That's some bull. So the man offered, and you just gonna be like, you just gonna, like as Courtney said, like, well, I'm gonna change a little bit, but like we have Hemsworth energy at home. Like we're just gonna be like when your mama's like, yo, oh man, why we gotta go to McDonald's? I can make you a Big Mac. Like that's how you go to approach this. Like no, we can make 2 Wonder Bread. We make a Witcher in no time. Like no, not.
Oh my god!
I ain't watch. Season 3 is the last season I'm watching. I'm telling you that right now.
Amen. So on that note, like Henry Cavill's transitioning to Superman. What I love about this is like after all the crap he has gotten, and I will admit, you know what, I never blamed him. I always blamed the writing. So I don't want to say I never threw shade at Henry Cavill. I threw shade at how they were depicting him. He did what he was told. He's the actor. He did what he was told. But I always said the potential in him is there. I see it, and it has hurt me that Snyder took him in a different direction. But here, without giving shade to Zack Snyder in the slightest, he comes out and says, I'm excited to come back, and I'm excited to tell an inspiring Superman who is going to make people feel good about themselves. That wasn't an outwardly attack on Zack Snyder. He didn't even bring up Zack Snyder. He didn't even bring up about like what he's done in the past. He's like, I'm looking forward to inspiring people with my Superman. For if people didn't know that he was in like Man of Steel or like BVS and like how he was depicted, how his Superman was depicted in those, they wouldn't think that he was throwing any kind of shade. So like that goes back to what you were saying, Darcy, about like he's a really respectable man, and like I found that what he said was very well said. Now Darcy and I have been kind of like monopolizing this conversation. So T, I know you got no thoughts on The Witcher, though I kind of want to hear what you think of us telling you about The Witcher. Go on for it, but then also I want to hear what your thoughts on Henry Cavill coming back as Superman.
I don't have many thoughts about The Witcher. I'm the only reason why I know about The Witcher prior to the actual show coming out is that I had a client who was obsessed with the games. Like she loved the games, and then she was like super excited when they finally came out with the Netflix show. But yeah, I'm not really into the fantasy type shit, so I kind of passed on it. But in terms of the Netflix thing, it kind of sounds like, to be honest, they're being hoe ass bitches. Like it sounds like
yeah.
No, but it sounds like, you know, when like a guy's like, oh, but like, you know, I could date you and this other girl, and she's like, nah. You either get me or you get like you don't get us at all, kind of thing. And so Netflix is just like, yeah, we're just gonna replace you, and that, you know, we're gonna replace you with Hemsworth Light. And I mean, I kind of understand it because it's very rare that you get a person like Henry Cavill who looks the way he does and is also a super geek that knows all the source material of all of these different properties, right? You know,
He plays
you'd be hard.
Warhammer, man. What's that? He makes and paints.
Oh yeah.
Characters for Warhammer and plays
but it's
them.
But it's like find another actor who looks like this guy who's also into like geeky shit heavily the way that Henry Cavill is. You'd be hard pressed to find someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only other person that I know is Vin Diesel, and Vin Diesel hasn't been, you know, taking good care of himself lately. So yeah, you know what I mean. So
I mean, I just that was such a opposite side of the spectrum of the two people of your choices. So you can have Henry Cavill, who is astute, educated, respectable, heavily geek, really amazing shape. Every woman loves him. You can also have this other guy over here who won't show up to set, doesn't work out that well anymore, definitely thinks he's worth more than he is right now, hasn't done a good film in a while, but he is big.
Women.
But that's my point. It's slim pickings, right? It's either Henry Cavill or Vin Diesel. You know what I mean? Like there's no there's no in between anymore.
There's The Rock.
Right?
I couldn't help it. It was so there.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, this news doesn't bother me really because I don't really care about the show, to be honest. So there's that. But I do love the fact that Henry Cavill is gonna get an opportunity to play a good, hopefully a good representation of what Superman is supposed to be. I share the same sentiments as Darcy. I didn't have a big issue with Man of Steel, but in saying that, I understand where you're coming from, Umar, in the fact that if we're comparing Man of Steel Superman to that of like Christopher Reeves iteration of Superman, there's no comparison, right? And the way Christopher Reeves played Superman is far beyond what anyone has even. I mean, you could say that the TV dude,
Tyler
Taylor,
Hoechlin, like
yeah,
he jumped ahead of
yeah,
he
yeah,
jumped ahead in the line.
he's pretty damn close. But in terms of like movies, we haven't had anyone that has been on par, not even close to being on par with that of Christopher Reeves. But like you said, also Umar, I see the potential. In fact, I started to see the potential in Justice League, like where he was. It was
Justice League.
Yeah, it was starting to show a little bit, but then he never really got the opportunity to pull the trigger. So hopefully, uh, with the new direction that the DCU is going now, I'm hoping that they can kind of flesh out or reestablish Superman in his true fashion, and we get a proper representation of the Superman that we all love, right?
Yeah.
I have a question. But before I say that, I think that Henry Cavill has the potential to be the best thing since Christopher Reeves, and with good writing, right? But
We all agree he's got the potential.
yeah. Well, in the post credit scene, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but we don't have to talk about the whole thing at this point.
Yeah.
In the post credit scene with Black Adam, where we see the scene with him, I don't feel like saying spoiler to people because I mean The Rock, but do you feel like, I mean, it's very quick, very small, but do we feel like we're seeing a little bit of a different turn with that version of Superman in terms of like his tone in that moment, because he's obviously not being directed by Zack Snyder anymore?
I will say that it's impossible to tell because for one thing, he's being controlled by Waller, which would never happen. The only thing I would say that is different is that he doesn't, like, when his scene didn't seem like he was openly being adversarial. He was just like, we gotta talk.
Yeah. There was some. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, you know what it is for me? I feel like the more he has the little fucking Superman curl, the little curl, it makes him more authentic to Superman. Like when he just had his hair all gelled back and slick and shit, like I was like, that the hairstyle's fucking up your personality, bro.
It's like we find out that like the like petroleum in the gel.
Yeah, it's like kryptonite jelly, bro. Like,
yeah, like they like split it off at some point.
Yo, my man just needs to let loose and just let that curl shine, bro. Just let it hang down.
You know what I could totally see is like James Gunn does another Suicide Squad and have some random characters just sitting in a bar like getting ready for something, and they're talking about the curl in Superman's hair and like the gel. Like maybe the gel got into him, you know. That's what made him so messed up when Lex Luthor came around, you know, like, you know, just a random dialogue that's like hilarious. But
100%.
The thing I'll say that when obviously the Waller thing's weird, but when he controlled by Waller, I don't really know how I feel, how much he feels like he's controlled or just agreeing, because I feel
he would never be this in her pocket that she would just call and like send him as like a, like, he would never be her big gun. He would never do it because he knows just what kind of person she is. And like if she was like, hey, there's a problem, we need you to stop it, like there are people dying, yeah, he'll be like, thank you for letting me know, boom. But it's like, there's a threat in a independent country, I want you to go talk to him.
Yeah.
Superman would be like, what'd you do?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, it's clearly a problem of like writing in something last minute to get it into the film to try to sell tickets. So yeah, I feel like that's gonna get retconned. But the thing I will say that I liked about it was there was something in his tone of voice and the way he was portraying himself in that dialogue that felt more like Justice League Unlimited to me a little bit. Like, I don't mean all the way, but it was just something in the way he was carrying himself, that he was talking, I really liked and felt reminiscent of something from a cartoon. And so that to me, when I saw that and then saying hopeful, I was like, yeah, there's something in there. Just the way he's talking doesn't feel like under the Zack Snyder's way of doing it, and it felt like reminiscent and exciting, and so it made me like, really like look forward to like what will come next for him.
I would say that like, that's good. That's good. I like that. That shows a really good change in what we're kind of like hoping for. Because
That's the hair right there. He ain't wrong up with the. I mean,
Yeah.
the one on the left is like he's aged a bit, like not in a bad way, but he's older, and he very much looked like he went under the ears and just came out of high school not that long ago. Like he's like he didn't know how to get it. He didn't know how to look right. Is all I'm saying.
I will say the one thing, and I believe it's a challenge that would be interesting for him to do, and I think he has the acting capabilities now to do it. Henry Cavill, like with Christopher Reeves, as much as you want to like say like he was a really tall man, and he was decently built, but like I found his Clark Kent and also his transition from Clark Kent to Superman to be literal transformation, not like in a figurative sense.
Night and day.
Exactly, night and day. And also, I read in an article that Christopher Reeves, he would go to when he was not shooting, he would go into places and like walk in full outfit, tall, and like go through, grab some stuff, walk out, and everyone's just like, oh my god. But he would do the same thing when he was in his Clark Kent outfit, and no one would see him there. Like the people would like bump into him, sort of thing. I know Henry Cavill can pull Superman if you're given, as we're saying, if given the right script. He's got the physique for it. He's got the acting for it. But I want to see him do a mild-mannered transformation of Clark Kent.
Yeah, we definitely didn't get that at all in Batman vs Superman.
The only person who has actually in my opinion, successfully done it since Christopher Reeve has been Tyler Hoechlin. Now, granted, his has been different. His has been a dorkier and a very sweet, but a dorkier Clark Kent versus a coward / bumbling / mild-mannered, a very respectful but mild-mannered Clark Kent. I want Henry Cavill to be given the opportunity and the script and the dialogue to show us, don't tell us, show us a true Clark Kent.
Ooh, this man's doing work over here right now. I like this. Yeah. I honestly think, Umar, though, that like, I mean, we obviously know it comes down to the writing, and if they're keeping everything connected from where it started with Zack Snyder, because they're just like they're just gonna like figure out how to retcon things, but they're gonna take it off of the story that it's already started, if that's what they're doing. I think we can explain away the like his early years being didn't know, right? And it's kind of like it's really like Spider-Man No Way Home, where it's like he didn't know he had to separate himself until he had this lesson, and now he realizes he had to like he couldn't have his friends remember him, and that's going to change, and then his Peter Parker is going to be different, right? He's going to separate his Peter Parker even more from his Spider-Man to protect people. And I feel like if they can write up a story where they show that's how like Henry Cavill's character realizes he has to create that persona, and yeah, something to that effect. So
I think like while we're like on this topic, another big news, which kind of like with the DCU and also Henry Cavill coming over, has been that sorry, so moving on, but slightly, the DCU now, or DC Studios, has new people in charge. They got rid that like yes, we're still stuck with David Zaslav as like the head of like Warner Brothers Discovery, But the people in charge, and it is 2 people now in charge of the DC studio films, is James Gunn
Yeah.
and some and this co-lead is Peter Safran. Now, James Gunn, we all know he did Guardians of the Galaxy. He's done Peacemaker. He's done the Suicide Squad. He's got some Marvel and DC movie cred. And Peter Safran is a producer, like he's a film producer and a manager. I know he did. He was a producer for Scary Movie, and there was one other thing. I think it was like some horror movie. Anyway, so like clearly we have the business side, the producer side out of Peter Safran, and we got the creative side, which is James Gunn, and hopefully together they can be a Kevin Feige for DC Studios. So, well, let's just go to him because clearly he happy about this, and let's have him talk some more. So, Darcy, what are your thoughts on this like new development?
Well, you know how I feel. I've been saying it ever since James Gunn did the Suicide Squad. Just give this man DC already. And someone was listening to our podcast because they listened and they did it. So I'm excited that like that such a strong creative mind can be in charge, and someone who obviously cares about the characters. And I was super excited to hear him be like, the first thing he did was call up Kevin Feige to tell him the news and start pitching ideas about crossovers. And obviously that's not something that's going to happen anytime soon if it does happen, but it's Kevin Feige has not been in competition with DC for the whole time, not just because they haven't been worth considering being in competition, but not because he didn't care.
They took themselves out of the running, man. Like, he was just like, I'm just all right.
Yeah. It's like, the track. That's not the track meet. That's the grocery store, and you in the seniors aisle, and I don't know how what happened there, but but it's nice to have somebody who's not thinking, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, like they did or whatever. He clearly is somebody who has strong ideas. He's going to back the creatives. That will work and that will fail at times, and that's going to be fine. But I'd rather somebody support a film where a creative idea was like, didn't quite land, but they pushed something, versus like, let's just cookie cutter this way through this, and like there's nothing of value in these films that we're watching. And I like that it's 2 people. I don't typically like 2 people technically being something, because you need a decisive decision. However, these 2 individuals have worked together before, so that tells me they have a working relationship. So they very well could be like what's the brothers' names from Infinity War and Endgame?
The Russo brothers.
Russo brothers, right? Now they're actual brothers, but but even still, family working together is not always a good thing. And to get to that level and be working together means they have to have a good working relationship. And so I'm just excited for this. I'm excited to see what they are going to do with it, considering he did Peacemaker and he connected Peacemaker back to the DC and like this prior stuff that we have. I have a feeling that we're not going to abandon what we have, but we're going to find some very interesting ways to just retcon the hell stuff out and just move on. Like, just it's like throwing a grenade in a room, closing the door, and just walking away. feel like James Gunn is just gonna like blow stuff up, but give us a good ride and then get things on the right track, and then it'll start like being a whole bunch of good things. But I think he's just gonna like not smoothly, but like not in a bad way, just fix it, just like rip the Band-Aid off and move quickly and just entertain us. I think if we were hit with a couple of good films, entertainment, we'll start to forget real quickly, So this is very welcome news on my side.
How about you, T?
Yeah, I like it. I think this is good news as well. I think DC needed an enema for sure, a nice colonic cleanse, if you will, to kind of just get rid of all the excess shit that we've been given from them from for a while, and we now need to start fresh. And James Gunn is a good visionary. He's got a really creative mind, and I like what he's done thus far. And so I feel like this pairing. I'm not familiar with a lot of the other guys' work, but I think, like Darcy said, because with the Russo brothers and what the body of work that they've been able to put out as a collaborative effort, I think with these guys banding together and working together to create something amazing, I think this would be I think this is a really good partnership, and I'm just hoping that they give us some really dope shit. I'm still waiting for that Green Lantern movie. I'm waiting for that because I mean he's been in the opening credits for how many movies now? We still haven't seen anything from him yet, and so yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with like Aquaman now going forward in terms of like, are they going to change directions for the third movie or what's going on with that? I don't know, but yeah, I'd be interested to see some like new heroes and see a direction, and like similar to like Marvel, how they were kind of building up to something like an end game type of thing.
Mhm.
I'd love to see that happen for the DCU. I don't care if people call it like copying or whatever. Like at the end of the day, it's all the same shit. It's just different clubs. So let's just enjoy them both and stop trying to pick sides and complain about which one is better. Like I love them both. I want both of these to win. And so this is good news in my eyes because DC needs a win. And I feel like with Marvel slipping right now, like DC's got the opportunity to kind of play catch up, man.
DC. Okay, hold on. Marvel's slipping for you. Well, no, actually, Phase
Yeah,
4. I will.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, fine, fine. Phase 4
This
is
guy
in
tried to.
debate. Phase 4 is in debate. I'll give you that.
Oh shit!
By the
See,
way,
you're
by
ready for that. You're like, yo, what did you say about it? No.
by the way, I was looking up while Tax was saying I don't know what Peter Safran has
Yeah.
done before. So I was looking it up, and there's an article that came out within like last 8 hours just talking about the direction of DCU. Not a lot of information at this point, but for your answer, Safran is a prolific producer who has done DC's highest grossing movie, Aquaman. So he produced that as well as the entire Conjuring universe. So he's good at knowing how to make sure like they get made and they get made in a financially successful way.
Right.
Which is going to be important for DC because it's going to be important that they make money on their films to do what they're about to do. And on top of that, they basically are saying that James Gunn has a very powerful vision and blueprint for a cohesive story going forward. Zaslav is very excited by like what they're hinting that he already has, and they're hard at work doing it. And one other notable thing that we forgot to mention about this is that in since they got rid of the executives from DC that were there before, they've already saved $2 billion from firing those executives, which goes to show you how much those movies suffered. If the studio saves $2 billion from firing the executive team, this is why my feelings about when everyone's been freaking out about Discovery taking over Warner Brothers, and then I think who's Zaslav, who's been like firing the hell out of everybody. I'm like, when you have really bad leadership running a business, you have to start chopping heads. Like you just have to start chopping heads. It's gonna feel very uncomfortable to the public of what the hell is going on, but you got to cut. And if they're cutting $2 billion to put back into making films, how many films is that? How many high cost films is that?
I don't disagree on the financial aspect of it. It's just that Zaslav he's a problematic individual. And so when he does these things, and he does tend to focus on certain films more than others, it's just kind of like, but at the same time,
I don't know enough about the man. All I'm saying though is that like if he comes if a leader comes out and says this whole organization's messed up, I'm gonna cut the whole executive team out, put somebody else in to get a good vision. We're gonna save a crap ton of money to do this, and then we're gonna put that money back in so that you can actually put that into creating stuff that makes money, not paying people's bonuses. Then like Justice League, that whole movie came out early and everybody on the team wanted it to be delayed, and it came out early just so Hamada could get his bonus like within the right quarter. Yeah, that's that. I just feel like there's a really good chance, and that like things are just gonna get way better.
Courtney's latest comment is that amount could finance one single James Cameron film.
Well played, 2 billion. I mean, what is the most expensive comic book movie we've had so far? What, 300-400 million to make, like with marketing?
I don't know. I would have to check that.
Yeah, but I feel like we could get quite a few films out of this, plus other things they have to put money into.
I would say that for me, I'm happy about this news when it comes to James Gunn, and I believe like him and Safran can, well, like we keep saying, it's not like they can do worse. And I don't think they can do worse. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. My only mild concern, and I will admit it is a mild concern, is that James Gunn, like for example in Peacemaker, and we talked, and I remember it was you, Tactix, who brought this up. James Gunn can sometimes get carried away with his style. And some of the episodes of Peacemaker felt too much like James had a lot like put his style in there as opposed to being a little bit more toned back. And for me, I also felt that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 suffer from this also. So if it was just James Gunn by himself, I would probably be like, ooh, there should be someone to rein him in. I don't know if Safran is the person to bring him in if he starts going down that route. Again, this is a very small criticism and worry. I predominantly believe that like anything that James Gunn puts out right now is going to be so infinitely better than what we've been getting that like I won't even care if he goes to James Gunn.
Umar,
Yeah.
Question here though. Question. How many movies has Kevin Feige directed in the MCU?
None.
So why is the CEO of the company? What, you think he's going to direct every film?
Yeah, that's what.
No, not that. It's not that. I meant more in the sense of that he lets his artistic style get away with him. It's possible he will allow other people to do that as well.
But
that again, very small gripe that like ultimately it wouldn't be too much of a problem if that happened. I just would like a little bit personally of reservation and trying to be more like less entirely niche focused.
But by him letting people have creative freedom, that's not necessarily his influence on them. It's the individual director putting their own spin on the property.
But I'm wanting a little bit more like control so that like because like as Darcy was saying, we want a little bit more of a cohesive universe. But if everyone is going off into their own like spectrum, like he needs to be the one to kind of like clip those at a certain point to make sure that it all stays within the cohesion.
Well, to my understanding, I would assume that that's why he's being hired as the Kevin Feige to keep order and to establish a cohesive direction as to where all of these movies are going. I don't think he's going to, at least that this is our hope, that he's going to have like creative influence on each one of these movies, but I think he's going to have like an outline as opposed to like let's say for example similar to the MCU where they wanted to lead up to like Endgame with like a battle with Thanos, right? That's like the end goal. I would assume that James Gunn wants to have a similar template where he's like, let's say for example, he wants to set up a Dark Side Justice League movie, right? But have everyone like similar to how MCU built up individual movies with all the heroes. They each had like their trilogy films and then had an Avengers film in between. I would assume that they probably want to start, or they want to do something in that same vein where they have individual movies,
One
maybe
hopes.
one Justice League movie that leads up to something else, and whatever. But every corresponding director that comes on to take on these properties, of course, is going to have their own little creative spin on it, right? Like James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy was very different than what the Russo brothers did with the Avengers movies, right? Because they all have creative like
Differences.
differences, but they're all following a specific time, like a specific format that is supposed to all build up to Endgame. So I get what you're saying. I get what your concern is, but I would assume that if they're trying to take the same approach as MCU and find that Kevin Feige, I I would assume that they're doing it with the intention of building similar to how the MCU was doing it, and then just to have this guy, the second guy, come in,
Saffron or
yeah,
whatever.
Saffron, as a way of like handling the business side of things, because it'd be similar to like Umar, you might be like you're a super creative guy. You're a fan of all the comic books, but you may not have the know-how in terms of how to get the funding for these movies. So you would get Darcy, who has a better understanding, who likes the movies, but may not have the creative understanding that you do, but has enough know-how in terms of like, okay, I see your creative vision, this is how much it's going to cost. Maybe we can kind of scale this back and do something that kind of meets in the middle and fits within our budget or something like that. I feel like that's how the partnership is going to be, hopefully, and there's not a clash of creative differences. Like everyone knows their role.
No, and honestly, T, exactly that is what I want to have happen.
Mm.
I don't know about their dynamic at all, aside from the Darcy just said that like they did Peacemaker together. So like cool. But like that is exactly what I want to have happen, what you said. And like if that happens, I will be happy as a clown. And already, Darcy, I completely agree with your point. We are off to a great start because James Gunn, first day out, was like, yo, Kevin Feige, we not in competition, we friends. Kevin Feige's like, yo, the next movie he makes, I'm there. And it's like, we're not going to war anymore. The war is over. It was dumb to do it because you guys didn't even know how to you guys didn't even have armaments. You just started throwing people at us, and we're just like, what's happening? Now it's just like, how about there's no arms race. Let's just do our own things, build up our own places, and then trade.
Yeah. And find good ways, like whether you trade in actors, whether you trade in resources, whether you trade in ideas, whether you trade in like understanding each other's timelines. There's so many benefits because if DC's doing great things that palette cleanse the MCU, then it means when comes time for a good MCU film, it makes that film better. Sometimes, maybe sometimes worse, depending on the timing of two films, but it can make it better in that it's different, and Tactix won't feel so done with the repetition because it'll be like varying up your workouts, right? You love the bench press, but if you do bench press 7 days a week, you're not going to love the bench press by the fourth week. So what I anticipate to happen under James Gunn's direction is that he's going to write a very long and beautiful story for the DC and work with Peter to like figure that story out from a financial perspective and what it builds up to. And then he's going to let these directors come in and say, here's your portion of the story. And they'll come up with their new ideas, and he'll say, these are the things we can't change, everything else, like, it's your thing. And I think what he'll do differently, the MCU, is that the MCU is becoming less cookie cutter in its visual and its mechanics of how a story gets told, but it's always felt like they're trying to almost keep every film like it came from the same director in a way, right? Like it came from the same creative team. And I think that we'll get more variation in DC storytelling. Batman's will be much darker than Superman, and like different, like a Wonder Woman story will feel very tonally different. And I think he'll find a way to just make sure that it's like the characters all feel like they're in the same world, but we'll have like a Suicide Squad and a Peacemaker where they're making fun of the seriousness of another character, and then go to a film where that character is serious, right? And I think we'll just get more variation. It'll feel like one movie will feel like Logan, the next film will feel like Deadpool, but it'll feel like those two characters can still stand side by side in another movie together. And I think he'll just find a way to allow that to happen, and it won't feel as rigid as MCU.
T, did you have something you want to say?
No. I was
Okay,
just agreeing with Darcy.
Yeah. So, just to bring in what our Courtney was saying, she's like, I prefer a micro dosing James Gunn. I wouldn't mind seeing his influence in a lot of things, but too much at once, and it's a bad trip. Yeah, I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I want the measured James Gunn, because the measured James Gunn is where I'm the happiest. I agree with you guys that, like, especially what you were saying, Darcy, if we're going to use Tactix as an avatar for people, for the audience's view on superhero stuff, because the MCU versus DC has always been like changes in style, and James Gunn is someone who seems to understand characters and chooses to write the stories based off the understanding of the character, which has inherently been the main problem in the DCEU. No one understood any of the characters and just did shit.
He looks like a bat, right?
So if Gunn has directors and writers come on and say, this is what we want to do with Green Lantern, this is what we want to do with Cyborg, this is what we want to do with Hawkman, and he's like, okay, that sounds like you guys, sounds like you read the comics and know of the character and are trying to take it in a modernistic but still character appropriate way. You go do your thing. Just naturally based off those characters who are inherently different, who have inherently different stories, we will have the diversity of storytelling that Tactix is asking for.
Yeah, and I look forward to it because I just think he's going to support the creators more, and he's not. I don't think there's going to be as much James Gunn influence in these films as people think there's going to be in terms of tone.
I hope he actually finds good directors, because Marvel, I mean, for crying out loud, with Eternals, they got an Oscar-winning art film director to do Eternals. Now,
it's my least favorite film.
It's not for me. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that film, but nonetheless, the fact that Marvel did that and allowed for that difference in style to take place. DC has only ever done action movies, and the one time they did with Wonder Woman, that was more nuanced, ultimately did go down a big action sequence in the last act, but predominantly that film was a quite nuanced film. They immediately destroyed it with the following film. And so it was just kind of okay, well, we went from one extreme to the other in one franchise. So I don't see Gunn doing that, because I would see him more as, I've seen your work, I respect your work, I want to know what would you do differently if you were given this character. And that's kind of what, because Marvel's been doing that. I want DC to now, hopefully, I believe DC will, with this group, be more open to that, as opposed to just getting by the number directors who are action film.
Yeah, and I also think that he's going to not have it be between Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, it's the same director, but I felt like that was just making it up for the second film. And I feel like he would probably approach people and be like, here's an arc that I was thinking of telling about this character, and here's it over 2 or 3 or whatever number of films, and this arc is going to play into this larger, grander story, right? At a larger point, there's going to be something that happens kind of like this, or exactly like this, depending on how much information you can give out. And this character needs to grow from this point to this point to be ready for this event. And how would you do that? How would you get these points across? And what would you bring to this character? What's special about this character? What's special about, being Wonder Woman in this world to get to this point, to grow and have to learn? What does she have to go through to get there? And then someone starts telling the story and is like, okay, that makes sense. I like that. And that's how we're going to tell that character to get them to this point. So that's what I want anyways.
Before we move on, I do want to ask you guys one question. Excluding Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, excluding them, if you could get one character for James Gunn to kind of like put as the next DC film, what would it be?
Terry McGinnis.
Oof.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, that was good. I mean,
was good.
Mine was Jon Stewart, but I mean, yeah. Tactix killed
it. Mine was oddly enough, it was Zatanna.
Interesting.
Because it would introduce the magic portion, which you and also it could have Constantine show by, it could have Dr. Fate show by, and like it would also introduce like it would almost be like the Doctor, like a kind of Doctor Strange for DC, but you would see how different the magic is. Anyway, so but dude, oh no, Batman Beyond, yeah, 100%. Like 100%. You win on that one. 100% win on that one. All right. Moving on to our final topic, which is the spoiler full review of Black Adam. So we, as people who watch this channel, no doubt have seen, we had our out of the theater reaction, spoiler free, when the movie came out, which was like 2 weeks ago. We are now going to go in full spoiler filled review, because like by this point, you guys, if you're not going to watch the film, then like that's your fault. So I'm gonna turn it over to my man Tactix right now, and I want to know what your full review of this film was.
Full review of the film. So if my memory serves me correctly, I gave it a 6.8.
Yes.
Yeah, that's still outstanding. I'd still give it a 6.8. To be honest, going into this movie, I wasn't expecting much, and what I'm about to say, no shots fired to my man The Rock. It's just usually when I go into his movies, I know what I'm getting, and I'm not expecting much. So I kind of just shut my brain off and just enjoy it for what it is. His movies haven't really blown me away, and this certainly didn't. But I mean, it was fun. I would say it's dumb fun, because this script, it definitely was written like 20 years ago, because wow, the dialogue is something else, man. I'll tell you that much. Damn. Okay. Yeah, so if you go into this deaf, that'd be an interesting read. I'm just saying that, like, because this dialogue is horrible. It's seriously trash. It sucked worse than like two leeches French kissing, man. That's how bad it was. But
are you sure your 6.8 still holds true?
I was just like, it's still 6.8.
Yeah, I mean, literally at that point, once I heard, like, once the kid got introduced in the beginning, I was like, all right, I know what I'm in for. So I just shut my brain off, and I'm like, yeah, just give me some action. Like, DC strongly needs a win. And yeah, Umar, like, sometimes I don't know, like, I feel sorry for you because you just don't know how to shut your brain off.
I can't do it. I try so hard.
But I understand it. It's sometimes like I wish I could have done that for Thor: Love and Thunder. Let me tell you that much. And yeah, I'm gonna be shitting on that movie for the rest of the year. Yeah, this to me is better than Love and Thunder. I'm probably the only one who thinks that, but yeah, I mean, I had a good time. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'd kind of like to see The Rock show up again. The one thing though is like, so Darcy brought this up. I don't know. I can't remember if he brought it up off camera or he brought it up in the review. But uh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a clause in his contract where he can only take a certain amount of hits per movie. But he's supposed to be the fucking villain. So if they're setting up Superman versus Black Adam, that means that this thing is going to end in like a draw, or Superman's going to get his ass kicked. And there's never going to be any redemption. And that's, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think Vin Diesel started that, or yeah, was it Vin Diesel who started it? And then Dwayne jumped on it. And then now Statham and all these other action heroes are now, they all have this in their in their contract where it's like they can only sustain a certain amount of hits, which is whack to me, because it's like if you're signing on as a villain, then yo, you got to take that L, player. You can't just be out here like rewriting comic book history.
Especially if you're gonna get into like an action movie, like
yeah,
like especially if like two mega super strong people, and he can only take like 10 hits versus Superman can take the rest. I'm like, that's not much of a fight.
Yeah. But anyway, let me stay on topic. So yeah, I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the action. Dialogue sucks. The characters were cool. I enjoyed the Justice Society, although they were kind of shoehorned into the story like randomly, and you never really get much backstory. I mean, given it's a Black Adam movie, I guess it's hard. And I watched a video where they brought up a good point where like, well, in a Black Adam movie, if you're not gonna have Shazam, like who else could you realistically bring into the movie that could go toe to toe with Black Adam? You're not going to bring in the Suicide Squad because they would get fucking wrecked, or they would just be, or they would help facilitate whatever he's doing, because it's like, oh, you kill people, yo, I'm on board with that. And you're not
they would just leave like, okay,
yeah, and you're not going to bring the Justice League in because like Black Adam would just get outshined by them. So yeah, you bring in some generic like the Justice League light characters, and
which is the Justice Society.
So I understood it from that standpoint. Quick story, and then I'll throw it back to I'll throw it to Darcy. I honestly, my favorite part, and this is like my pettiness coming out, my favorite part was seeing Hawkeye get his ass kicked, and I'm going to tell you why. Hawkman, sorry, did I say Hawkeye?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, sorry. Whatever. Fuck that guy. Fuck both of them. Okay, so here's my petty side. So, fun story. So the actor who plays anyway, sorry, let me backtrack. So back when I was single, I was crushing on this girl. I was trying to get with this girl, and we went on like a semi date or whatever, and I was trying to get a second date in. And she kept giving me the runaround, and was like, she pretty much like ghosted me. And then like 2 weeks after that, I was like, yo, like what's the deal, like what's going on? And she like hit me up, and she's like, yeah, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. I got a lot of stuff going on, so like I hope you don't mind, like maybe we could just be friends. And so I was like, all right, you know what, cool. And like I played it off like, you know, I was like, I was just, you know, trying to like get to know you better. I'm not trying to get into a relationship, and you know, whatever. So then I come to find out, like maybe like a couple weeks later, she's seeing the Hawkman over here, and I'm
wait,
like,
hold up.
yeah, she's like
she ghosted you for
she
all this
yeah, and I'm like, first of all, how does that even happen? Like I didn't even know, like he's not even from here. Like where did
how did I not know this about you?
Yeah, so I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, and like I'm super excited. He's got like, I'm not supposed to say anything, but he's prepping for like this new project. It's like a Marvel or DC, and then sure enough, it's this fucking movie. So I'm like mad bitter, but I'm like playing it off like I'm cool. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, that good for you. I'm happy for you. Meanwhile, I'm like, yo, I hope he don't make it. I hope he don't make it. So then, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the movie, and this guy, spoiler alert, is getting his ass whooped, and I'm like, yeah, get him, Black Adam. Fuck this guy up. You know? So even though I'm in a relationship now, yo, it was my petty side coming out a little bit. So.
Yo,
yeah, that's my story. But anyway, yeah, overall, I enjoyed the action. The dialogue is trash. It's dumb fun. I'm curious to see where it goes, but yeah, it's not great.
So 2 things off of that.
Yeah.
1, that is a very interesting form of closure. And 2, now I understand why it's 6.8 for you.
Yeah, that 0.8, bro.
That is
It was a 6, but that 0.8 though.
that is a biased rating. That is a biased rating. Oh my goodness! Wow, that was definitely unexpected.
Oh, that's I was when he started the story. I'm like, where's this going? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, Omar, I knew exactly where that was going from when you started that story. I was like, he's like, so I was seeing this girl. I'm like, this girl left him, and this girl left him for Hawkman.
Yeah, it's still a sour spot for me, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the man's got plenty of sore spots now, so you're good.
Yeah.
Going into my review, this movie, I said early the theater reaction was a 7. Further reflection on stupid things. That's a 6.5 for me now. I feel like 7's too good of a number to throw at it. But
I couldn't believe those words came out of your mouth. I was like, what?
Yeah, but it. This is definitely a background movie. And what I mean by that is it's a film you can put on in the background. You put the volume to 2, and then an action scene comes up and you put it back to 14, right? And back in the day when we'd have the TV, we would have that like last channel button. I need that like last volume button that toggles back and forth between like, I don't need to listen to this right now. Oh, I need to listen to this right now. Yeah, mostly just fists, not people talking. Because as Tactix said, the dialogue is dated at best, more like expired, but yeah. By the way, that Hawkman mask is exceptional. If it makes you feel better, Tactix, I have so many bird jokes. But anyways, I digress. Overall, this is definitely dumb fun all through and through. I'm not happy with the amount of Rock's influence into this character. I definitely on that. When his character is badass in the middle of a fight, it's badass. When he's imposing, and that's fun, regardless if it makes complete contextual content text as to why he's making the decisions he's making. But it is a lot of fun when it is fun, and that's really the best I can say for it. This is a good reason to buy popcorn at a movie theater, right? Courtney over here saying that, like, it sounds like her kind of film. If you just want a reason to spend those scene points, this is a reason to spend those scene points. Going back to our original point of it ain't worth spending real money on. So, yeah, it's overall just good fun. And by the way, Umar, because you asked the question before, and I've been thinking about it more, I'm going to replace my Jon Stewart with Martian Manhunter, because I want to see. I want to see. I started thinking about it. I feel like we could see James Gunn trying to retell stuff and telling it from his perspective could be really, really good.
My bros, we got some good answers here today.
And one more thing I really want to see is, in Justice League Unlimited, every time they hung out in the tower, I want to see that in the DC at some point, where it's like the opposite, but I want James Gunn to do it, where it's like you see a scene of the Suicide Squad acting like foolish and funny in like a bar scene, and then you get the exact same kind of scene, like set up the exact same way, but it's Justice League in the cafeteria room. But it's like the tone is different, but it's still hilarious because it's just like superheroes being regular people and doing stupid ass shit. And it's just like I just want to see like that kind of stuff start introduced DC, just like random funny moments that are just people being people. They just happen to be super powered. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. I'm moving on. Umar, your final review.
All right. So my 4.5 has remained. I will say that this film had it had elements of things that if they were actually like I would say like there were plot points that would have been would have been interesting had they done a good job with it. Other than that, it was dumb fuck. Like you guys said, the like everything you guys have said, it's just that I wasn't able to turn my brain off because it just was so bad. I swear to God, I have never wanted a child to die more in my entire life than this kid in this movie. Not the actor, let him live. I want him to have a long like life and probably have a career, but like just in this, I wanted this character to die so badly. And if he ends up being who I think he is going to be, then like I'm gonna enjoy seeing that death scene. But it's very likely he won't be. So like that kind of sucks. But nonetheless,
Poor phrasing, by the way, Umar.
I know.
You should start with a character to die, not a child.
Yeah. I will say that I'm now rethinking my praise of Hawkman because like the man did my bro dirty. I'm not, I can't give him props for this anymore. But like, you hurt my friend. But I would say that I enjoyed the depictions of Dr. Fate and Hawkman. The fact that Hawkman was front and center to like take on Black Adam. Of course, he was going to be a rag doll. Like, who did he think he was going to hurt? Like Hawkman has taken on Superman and has been thoroughly beaten. Like the most he's gotten has with using technology, getting a couple of good hits on Superman. A couple good hits, and that's about it. Because the man, I will say, in the film, he was wearing more armor than he does in the comic books. In the comic books, he just got wings and a strap across his chest that's bare. He don't have a T-shirt on to save him. So I'm like, that was the heavy hitter. That dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So like him being treated like a rag doll by Black Adam makes sense. With Dr. Fate, great casting choice, and also if done correctly, it would have been a really good film. Really good depiction of him. But like it was like Doctor Strange ripoff ideas for the Lord of Order, I guess. And so I was kind of like, why is this happening? And then they killed him for literally for no reason. Like it wasn't like he had to like protect himself and die. He literally just stood there and was like, okay, you can kill me. And I'm like, but why though? Also, something Darcy has stated in our group chat. The Hawkman's been flying around the whole film. The one time he was like, no, I gotta get my steps in today, is when he's going to go save Dr. Fate.
It's like that friend who's like, man, I got you back. I love you, homie. I love you. And then it's like, when push comes to shove, it's like, oh man, my back. Oh man,
yeah, like it just there were a lot of also like what Tactix says, like a lot of the characters were just shoehorned. The only person who got in any kind of like, not only was the dialogue trash, it was also rushed. Like they were speeding through the narrative and exposition just to get to the next fight sequence. Now I will say this film had a lot of action sequences. Like the second time around, I counted. There was, I forget the number now, but like there were at least 8 action sequences in the first like overall. That's a lot in a less than 2-hour film. And also, if I guys, I am Black Adam has made it so that I now notice slow motion in other medias, and I'm just like if I see it in anime, if I see it in the TV show, and if I see it in another movie, I'm like, I need to stop with the slow motion. Just stop. Just do real time. We don't need slow motion anymore. We're good. So, yeah, I would say that this movie was trash. I could not turn off my brain, and it just kept hurting me. And everything that I hoped to enjoy was marred by either slow motion or continuously dumb rock like persona coming out. Like he didn't even try to act. He was just like, I'm gonna read the script like The Rock. That's all. So, and also like the fact that they had Sabak as like a ridiculous CGI villain at the end for to be a real villain, and also the fact that like Dr. Fate went out of his way to release Black Adam from his imprisonment, but neglected to take off the one thing that would have actually gotten him there in time to save him.
Because he needed to be like Doctor Strange and have seen a million different variations of the future and realized the only way to save Hawkman was to sacrifice himself. Like that's what they were trying to say. It just felt stupid. You know what kills me is like people putting out this like TikTok meme of like how Dr. Fate like, oh, like he did a perfect like thing from the comics where he did like the hand gestures and to get Black Adam out of his containment. You're like, yeah, great. What about the rest of the film and every other time he uses powers? Like, yeah, he uses everything perfectly when it like it's just the least important scene of the whole film. And
yeah, also the amount of testosterone fight sequences between Hawkman, like these people are supposed to be working together, and then they get into fist fights when like time is of the essence, and I'm just like, okay, you guys actually care about what's happening. It's not like someone is telling you to care about it. You guys are supposedly supposed to care about this. Why are you being infected with testosterone poisoning?
yeah.
Can we throw up what Maybot said right now? She's saying that the formula for Black Adam is that of the 90s, early 2000s, 100%. I'd have loved it as a kid. I would have significantly less problems with this movie if I saw this as a child. And then she said it doesn't fit in today's way of storytelling. We've evolved since we were kids. Completely agree. 100% completely agree. The scary thing is, when I was in the movie theater both times, I saw multiple adults clapping at the end of this film. And I saw children walk away being like, this is dumb.
Well, you know, it's
So
The Rock.
anyway,
He brings out different things in different people.
agreed. So, okay, so like moving on to our final part of this review, and Tactix is the one who brought this up during our out of the theater reaction. He asked me what would I do differently aside from like rewriting the script. I like the story. I felt the plot elements needed to be done over 2 films. The first film, if you're really going to go down the route of like showing the hero of conduct, blah 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 blah, the first film, the first act is showing the history of Teth-Adams. Like you show his family, you show his the suffering of the people, you show the king being an asshole, maybe not so over the top, like put some subtlety in there. Like there was no subtlety. Like this movie was allergic to subtlety and was wearing a hazmat suit to make sure that it didn't seep in at any point. So let's have some subtlety. Let's have some like proper dialogue. And then when like let us see everything that happens and us follow along with Teth-Adam as he's brought to the modern day, and not like, and the mystery is how he was brought there. Like he's just like, wait, like what just happened? I was just imprisoned a few minutes ago. And him actually, and us seeing his reaction, like he's like reacting to all these foreign things that we know about, but he doesn't. And so he reacts to it, and he like saves this random woman. And then he's like, wait, where am I? And us seeing him like just wiping out all hostiles and then trying to figure things out. And then on top of which he comes across like someone who actually wants to talk to him, and also like, wait, I heard your voice, you called me, and then being brought back to her place, and then like meeting family, getting to know what's going on, and also like realizing that he needs the wisdom of, I don't even remember who Teth-Adams god that gave him wisdom, but like him having to be like, hold on, okay, keep talking to me. I understand your language now. Let me like go from there. Like show us how he learns to speak English, as opposed to him just waking up and speaking English and giving 20th century sass to a child. And then develop the characters around him. Develop the fact that like he's focused on like just himself. Develop the fact that he's uncomfortable about all this like hero worship, and we know what's going on, but we don't know how he is going to like. He doesn't know how to like he was 5,000 years old. He don't got like modern day like end of toxic masculinity. He was basically there at the start of toxic masculinity, and so like him just keeping things to himself, and then he's like, okay, my people are in trouble. I'll just wipe out all of these intergang people. Showing him wiping out stuff, but also being told that hey, like, well, don't kill everybody. We kind of need like certain members of the government to stay in touch so we can like reform everything. And at the end, the Justice Society shows up, be like, "Yo, we gotta talk because you need to knock this shit off." And that's at the end of the first film. And then the next film is him taking on the Justice Society and also bringing back Sabak. That is how I would have done it. So what do you guys think?
I like it. I like it.
I like how the second film is going to be like an all-out battle. And I think the second film could start also giving a lot more backstory to them and their perspective on the situation, kind of like what BVS was trying to do in the perspective of having like two sides. My only worry is that the first film might be a little bit like long without action, like not enough action for me. Because I don't like a superhero film where sometimes where it's like this one won't have a like
the first half of the movie, like when he's back in 5,000 years, like he essentially his son would be killing all the guards. Like there would be action there.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh yeah, as long as it had good action in the ancient time, because I hate when you get a film where it's like it's cool when you're like learning how to get your powers, kind of like a Rocky thing. But sometimes it can feel like I waited the whole film to see their powers, and they get to use it for 5 minutes, and then I gotta go leave. Like I'm like no,
no. Like
but
this situation would be like his son would be doing this stuff, then he would be doing the stuff because he would kill the king, and then he would take on the wizards, and they would imprison him. So there's that too, and then he would wake up and then kill all of Intergang in the vicinity.
yeah,
And then at the end, he's like wiping out all of Intergang throughout the country.
You're getting me more excited because I think you could also have a really interesting dichotomy in the first and between the first and second act, where you see his son using the power, and then when he uses the power, it makes you feel
the rage.
The rage. I was almost gonna say a little bit disgusted by it.
Yeah, you're just like, wow, like this guy is just like he's just an angry father who's lost his family, and he's just killing everybody.
Yeah, like too much, like too much of it. And that could, however, the Rock won't do this, but it could make it like a better villain story in that coming into the second film. Because how do I put this? If you do this, what you're saying, but you totally try to make it a little bit more like BVS proper. I don't mean in a sense of like
I'm with you.
The first one does make a sympathetic villain. It does, but you know how bad he is if they give you enough dark tone in what he does. And when he comes into our modern world and he still does things in a bad way, and even though it might be trying to improve by the end of the film, when you see it from the other side's perspective and you spend time showing how bad it is from their perspective, especially without any context, that like the context that we have, you could set up a far more better second film, and you could expand on the idea of this that I liked in this film, where they were talking about like, well, your superheroes just show up right now to stop the guy who's saving us, right? Like who like
where the hell were you?
Right? Yeah, like it just there was a good question asked there that never really got any depth, and I'm like, you could really make that second film about the question of like who's really right here and whatnot.
On that point, actually, I've been reading online where a lot of obviously these are very specific type of individuals who are saying this, but they keep stating that the reason why they like Black Adam is that it's not forcing woke nature onto them, and it's like it's not being a politicized film. I'm like, did you watch that movie? Because it pretty much was saying, hey, America, stop coming into our countries and taking our resources, and acting like you're saving us.
But it did such a half-ass way that I didn't notice.
T, how about you, man? Like, would any alterations to how I did the story that you personally would like?
Excuse me. No, I mean I like Darcy's adjustments just because I feel like I'm on the same boat as him in the sense that I would like to see like a movie like that with more action, right? Like, and I think we're all in agreement here that like the action in this film was its saving grace. So to have it just kind of be all character building and nothing to kind of really back it up in terms of the action or any fight scenes would kind of fall a little bit bland for me. But
I want to be clear that I wasn't saying it would be devoid of action, because like we would be getting action in the olden times, we would be getting action right when he comes to the modern day, and we would be getting action at the end.
yeah, I mean, it could be interesting. I feel. Let me ask you this. So, okay, so similar to how Christopher Nolan did Batman Begins, where it was kind of like it was pretty much like an origin story where it was
Yeah.
like it was leading up to him being Batman, but like for the latter half of the film, we had him in the costume doing his Batman thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's something I would want in terms like I wouldn't want to have to wait for a second film for Black Adam to become Black Adam.
That
So
wasn't what I was saying. Like, because like the first act, so like the first like I don't know 30 minutes of the film is us watching his son being
right.
like the Shazam, and then like giving it to him getting killed, him going and killing the king and everyone around.
Yeah.
And like so like there's some action going on there, but like the big action sequence at the end of the first act would be when the wizards are like, we gotta imprison you, and he's like, yo, I'm not going anywhere, and he's fighting them. So that's like two action sequences just right there. Then in the second act, it's like the first thing he does is when he gets back is like he's being attacked by Intergang, so he kills everyone just like he did in the movie.
Right.
And so all that's the same.
Okay, yeah.
And then at the end, he's basically like he's taking on the entirety of Intergang with some members of like other countries who give them like military assistance, and he's like blowing things out of the sky and all that sort of stuff, and like blowing boats up and all that sort of shit. Like that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool because I think his history would be more fleshed out than what we got. But then we also get more backstory in terms of the opposition coming from the wizard side, which they kind of glossed over in this. It was kind of like a throwaway flashback scene, and I think
it was funny. You know how we went to go see My Hero Academia, and you said like the subtitles were moving too fast at times?
Yeah.
This, when they were going through the names of all the gods that give him power, they went so fast I couldn't read.
Yeah.
Wait, they put names on the screen? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
This is like there were subtitles to this. Yo, we watching the same film? Shit. I must have like leaned for my popcorn in that 1 second. I was like, who are these people?
Sorry, T, you were talking about the wizard. Sorry.
No, yeah. So I just kind of similar to what Darcy was saying. Like I would like if it's properly fleshed out, we get more history, we get more backstory with pertaining to the wizards, and on top of that, we get to see some actual Black Adam action in the last act, and I think that'd be good. I think it would be great.
I do have one more question for the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of like The Rock getting the same haircut as the picture on the right?
Nah.
Nah.
Every time I've looked at that picture, I'm like, I'm glad he doesn't have that haircut.
Yeah.
That haircut is wrong. Just wrong. But Umar, going back to your point about that story, the more you tell it, explain it, the more I'm liking it. The one thing I also like about the third act, taking it all intergang, is that it could be a much more grounded final fight. It's not a fucking demon. But it's not like just another giant powerful being that shows up out of nowhere and blah blah blah, or a big blue light out of the sky, blah blah blah, like whatever. It's just a gradual progression of him fighting people to the point where they bring all the guns. And I think one thing I would love, and I was trying to say this before a few times when we talked about having the villain be like the star of the movie, is if we could, in your story, the end in that third act where you feel a bunch of different set of emotions. One, you feel victorious and that he's liberated the people, and that feels kind of good and that it's good for the people. But if he does it in a way that feels wrong compared to Batman, Superman, and other people, what they would have done in that situation, you feel a little bit sickened from it. Like,
Yeah.
he's bloodied the place. And you could also portray that in certain people being like the woman who frees him, being happy, but then seeing the carnage, and other people in the city being really happy about it because they didn't see the carnage, they see the result, right? And people that are closest to him feeling not happy with it, right? And then you have this, like, you end on a movie where you get what you wanted, but you don't feel good about it as the audience. And I think that would be a really good place to end, where you feel like it's the making of a villain that you wanted to be your hero, and you don't know if you can trust it.
Exactly.
And then it makes the second film valuable to the audience, because you're like, yeah, we need to get this guy in check.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly, that is what I want.
You got me sold, bro. You got me sold.
Yeah, I'm
All
on
right.
board too.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
we ain't gonna get it though.
we never gonna get it. We never gonna get it. But anyway, so that is our review, and also what we hoped could have gotten for Black Adam, but instead we got what we got. So I'm gonna pass it back to you, T.
All right. Well, this has been another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. We want to thank you guys all at home for watching or listening wherever you are. And tune in, not next week, because we will not be here. We got some other arrangements that we have to take care of, but we will be back the following week. So until then, check out some of our old episodes, and get caught up if you haven't seen any of the latest episodes that we put out. But until then, we will see you guys when we see you. Until then, I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Please like and subscribe, and live long and prosper, y'all.
Peace.